to Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. And tonight on my show, titled Border Strategy, we will talk about whether or not we actually have a border strategy. And does Mexico have a border strategy? Is AMLO, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, actually following through with the agreement made by the delegation that came from Mexico and said, Marcelo Ebrard said they had gotten a great deal out of the whole situation? We'll find out if that's true. We're going to talk about over the course of the negotiations and what's been happening in Mexico, which included National Guardsmen being sent to the southern border and a whole bunch of other things that we saw, that the president of Mexico and Marcelo Ebrard also said very clearly, we are not going to deport. We did not militarize our borders. We are not going to use violence against the migrants. We are going to do things the right way, the humane way, and we're going to pay for it. And we're going to give people educations, and we're going to give them jobs, and we're going to give them health care. And we're going to talk about how he plans to pay for all of that. We're going to also talk about over 100 migrants rescued from semi-trucks, the back of semi-trucks, and the trafficking involved, the traffickers, the smugglers involved. We're also going to talk about a shootout that happened in Mexico on the La Venta, Agua, Dulce, and Xalapa highway. There's a dead person involved. There are 2 others injured. We're also going to talk about that gun battle shootout that happened at the San Ysidro port of entry at the United States-Mexico border and compare some notes. Take a look. What's the same? What's going on? And we'll talk about the trafficking and the smuggling some more. And then we're going to talk about the border and an assault, a violent assault that took place against a blogger named Roger Ogden, who was in Tijuana, and the Otro Lado volunteers that participated in that beatdown that Mr. Ogden received. What is the propaganda currently being spread and spun both in Mexico at the border and in the U.S. about these border support networking groups? I'll show you. Al Jazeera Plus put a video out about Nicole Ramos from El Otro Lado, and it's a doozy. It's something you have to see to believe and watch with your own eye holes and hear with your own ears. And we'll be bringing that to you. I'll also be telling you, what are these border support network people up to? What's their next move, their next plan? What's their next strategy? All of that on tonight's show. Border strategies here on a Mexican Crossing Lines. And folks, I want to thank all of you for your patience, your kindness. I know that you haven't seen us in a week. We have been remodeling, including our studio. Thanks to your support, we've been able to upgrade some things in here, which we desperately needed to do to bring in more people to do programming here at KPPPLP. We're very proud of the work that we do. We're always trying to improve and make better programs for all of you to hear. So thanks for your patience this week. We're getting right back in, digging in deep. I think that we have to thank Border Network News, Oscar El Blue Ramirez, and the work he's been doing. Phenomenal. The man is bringing you news right now from Guatemala and the border. And if you guys haven't been watching that, tune in. It's amazing the information he is bringing you from the border. Okay? No more demystifying needed. You're getting it straight from him at the border, Oscar El Blue Ramirez. Check out his videos, Border Network News. I'm going to be talking more about what's happening both with this border strategy and what's really going on behind the scenes. But first, I also want to thank all of you for your support. Duke, how can they contact us? How can they support our station?
Well, most definitely. And thank you very much for tuning in. We really appreciate people participating in our live streams. We also take live streams, many of them, we make them into radio programs that we air here on KPPP LP 88.1 Fargo Moorhead. And we have a line where people can call and leave messages. And tonight we actually have one that we're going to play for you. But it's a recording up to 3 minutes, and you can leave us a voice message at 701-566-0917. Also, you can tweet us at media_PPP. You can email Cindy at kpppfm.com, and you can email me, Duke, at kpppfm.com. You can also go to kpppfm.com and have a look at our shows. I believe everything's updated, so we have all our most recent shows up. Just go to kpppfm.com. Also, remember, we're a nonprofit organization, and we rely on donations, and we raise money for the station. It all goes through the nonprofit. It's all tax deductible. Thank you, all of you who have supported us over the years and who have recently supported us so we can make these upgrades. We really appreciate it. We'd love for you to continue to watch and continue to enjoy the programming we bring to you. We have some new programming that we've just started this week, and it's really exciting. We have, these two gentlemen, they're doing the policy, and there's going to be more of that. So if you'd like to support us, and I encourage you to, go to kpppfm.com/donate, make a tax-deductible donation to our nonprofit that directly goes to the station for the upkeep, maintenance, and the production we are doing, and we thank you very much for that. Also, we are putting our videos that we record from the shows not only on Facebook, we put them on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel called Duke 1517. So go to YouTube, type in Duke 1517, or just Duke Gomez-Schempp. You'll come to our channel. Subscribe. We're over 1,000 subscribers. We did a big push for the past couple weeks, past couple months, and I'm just waiting to be verified and some of the YouTube stuff that has to happen so we can get increased tools on YouTube, and we'll start producing shows there too. So we'd really appreciate if you subscribe, help us build that platform. The more we're on several platforms, the more people will reach. We put the videos up because it reaches people that aren't necessarily going to be on Facebook, or sometimes it's hard to find because they get pushed down as we do more posts on our page. That way you can go and see what's fresh and see what's up with YouTube and production that we have just done. So please do that, and we appreciate your support, and we appreciate viewers like you.
Also, I want to say I am going to continue to do shows in Spanish also. So after this show, I'll be doing one in Spanish for my Spanish-speaking audience because I have been getting a lot of requests. I was doing it, then I started doing longer, more, detailed shows, and it kind of got away from me. But I'm getting back into it. So, un fuerte abrazo. Un saludo a toda la gente hispanohablante que me escucha. I got you. I'm going to do a show. Los voy a hacer su programa enseguida de que terminemos este. Un abrazo, un saludo grande para Oscar el Blue en Guatemala. Gran trabajo que hace ese hombre. Trabajadorcísimo. So guys, today we're going to start off by talking about this border strategy. Now, you may recall, I told all of you that a big part of what this delegation of Mexicans had to concede, which Mexico was not happy about, is the third safe country, document. The United States wants and has been trying to get administrations prior to this one to sign this agreement that Mexico will become a third secure country so that people can be sent there to wait for their asylum claims, right? This negates all of this lawsuit against Trump thing that's going on. And then also, it's going to change the immigration policy on asylum for Central Americans. And guess what happened? Trump signed a deal with Guatemala for that third secure country. Done deal. Finito. It's done. Here is the, we'll talk about that in a minute. One thing I did want to share, because I always love to communicate back and forth with you. If I didn't get to your email or your question or your comment this week, I apologize. You do know I have tons and tons and tons of mail, but this week during the remodeling, I didn't get to look at my mail. I was focused on getting this job done. And we're sore, we're tired, but we did a great job. I feel really good about how it turned out. Everything turned out. But anyway, I want to share some of the feedback that we get. Here's a listener voicemail about our station's work.
Hey, I'm just a random listener. I was tuned in here. I'm loving the program here on 88.1, and I just wanted to say this message of love everyone, even if they don't love you. I mean, that's just amazing. You guys are awesome. I just wanted to throw out some props to the DJ. That guy is awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're sounding good. Everything. I could just listen to your program for hours. So, I mean, keep doing what you're doing. You guys are awesome. 88.1 FM. You guys rock.
We rock.
We
Nice,
rock.
right? Thank
We
you very
rock.
much. We appreciate it. We always love to hear feedback. This is the post about Mexico's deal. Mexico Despierta is the name of the page that I grabbed this from, and it talks about how Trump has signed the deal with Guatemala to be a third safe country. And they also talked about the Trump tweet that beginning the following week, there's going to be thousands of undocumented migrants removed from the United States. That's what it said. Guatemala negotiated with the United States on the observation of the migrant protocols. The president of Guatemala, Jimmy Morales, revealed on the 13th of June of 2019 that his government had negotiated a deal with the United States that would observe international migrant protocols, which affect all of the continent of the Americas. So they apply to all of this continent. That's the story. Here's the link to the article that goes with that story. We'll share that with in the comments of our show. You can find those all on our Facebook page at 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead. Just check for the show, find the same titled show, check the comments, and after the show, you'll be able to go and check out all these links on your own. So what does this article say? Take a look. Here you go. It's in noticieros.com, Últimas Noticias. And it says that Trump announced that Guatemala signed it. He's like, it's a done deal. And they agreed they were going to be the third party country. This is what Trump tweeted about will happen in the next week. He said the next week, ICE is going to start a process of eliminating the millions of undocumented foreigners that have come into the United States illicitly. They will be removed quickly as they come in. They'll be removed as quickly as they come in. That's what the president of the United States is saying. Mexico, it says, using its strong laws, its strong immigration laws, by the way, they're stronger than the US's, are doing a good job to stop. Really, Mr. President? You think they're doing a good job? Okay. We'll talk about it some more. Anyway, it says that they're doing a good job of stopping all of the people before they get to the southern border with the United States. Guatemala has signed the third-party safe country agreement. So the only ones, he says, that are not going to do anything are the Democrats in Congress. Your thoughts, Duke?
I love where how the Democrats are being brought up. You know, I always think it's such a scapegoat of, well, what are the Democrats going to do? You know, it's all deflecting. Like, you know, Congress is a mess. I mean, these people, when they had full majority of both houses of the presidency, couldn't get anything done. Now, you know, regaining the House and, you know, the focus on, you know, impeaching Trump and still doing the Mueller report. And so I think that stuff should have been dealt with a lot different. We need to move on. We have other things to do. I think that I kind of love the jabs that go back and forth because both parties are so responsible for what's going on, but they just fight like little kids. And it humors me as people bring these things up because the Democrats have become more and more increasingly like Republicans, and worse. In fact, Republicans are starting to improve better than Democrats, and I never thought I'd ever say that, but they've deteriorated in their party so much and their leadership, and it's a bunch of millionaires that basically run Congress, a bunch of millionaires that aren't in touch, and these people that try to get in and change things are actually co-opted to get there, because otherwise they would never get there, and they're supposed to be the liberal ones that are going to revolutionize things and make changes. It's a mess. It's a huge mess. And I used to do voter education, voter registration, get people to turn out to vote. I'm disgusted with our democracy in this country.
Something else the president said? He wrote or he tweeted that the Democrats have to vote to end the loopholes in the asylum process.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's how you're going to stop this crisis at the border. And I don't know. What do you think about that border strategy? I mean, he says that it's got to happen or this doesn't stop. I think it's possibly going to deter it somewhat, but I don't know if it's going to stop it altogether.
Well, a one loophole, it's like the whole system is broken, and it's been broken for a long time. Just even before this recent migrant caravan from starting in October of last year, it's been a mess. I mean, one of our friends who is from Somalia has been here for 5 years. He's had 3 jobs consistently in that 5 years. He got a driver's license, had to, and he was here. He was approved to come into this country. It took 5 years for his asylum to be granted. And he came from a war-torn country and spent years in a refugee camp and got accepted to come to Fargo, North Dakota. And he had to renew his driver's license every year, and he was checking in with Homeland Security. He had to be checked on all and checking in all the time, even when he just travel somewhere. And finally, his asylum was approved. But now he has to work on becoming a citizen. He's not going back to Somalia. This is his home. So he spent 5 years having an asylum claim, but now he's going to work, I don't know how many years to actually become a U.S. citizen. So, all these new people just coming in and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands clogging that system, removing this loophole, it's got to be a lot more done than that.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot more done than that. Exactly right. Anyway, here's a Forbes article in which Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador talks about how this plan that Mexico has, which, as I've told you, includes them having services of healthcare and education and jobs for the Mexicans, or not for the Mexicans, for the migrants in Mexico. And he was asked about this at the press conference. I told you that when they held that press conference after they came back from Washington, D.C., but I talked about, avoided that question, avoided it. Well, AMLO answered it in this article from Forbes magazine. He says they're going to sell the presidential plane. That's how they're going to do it. They just got to sell one of, the plane.
Sell a plane. Just sell a plane.
Just sell the plane. The president,
budget.
It's done. It's that's going to solve it because it's very luxurious. And he said that according to United Nations estimates on the sale of the plane, it oscillates between 130 and 150 million dollars. That's the value of the plane. And he's like, budget? I got a budget. I'm selling my plane. And then that's how we're going to play for the whole thing. Duh.
And meanwhile, Trump is asking for a renovation or a new plane, in hundreds of billions. I forget what it is, but it's a lot of money. Trump doesn't like the old plane. He wants a new face job on it. He wants it repainted red, white, and blue.
Meanwhile, the Mexican president has gotten out of the White House, or what, the equivalent of the White House of the Mexican president.
Yeah.
In Mexico. And then this turns up, that
Cindy, hi, Jude.
Whoops,
go ahead. I just
No.
want to make sure you turn it up loud enough so I can hear it. This is a woman who sent me, her name is Olga. She sent me some information about this plane deal. Go ahead.
Okay, one moment.
One moment, please.
Hi, Cindy. Hi, Duke. This is Olga for Trump, and I'm calling from. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Duke. This is Olga for Trump, and I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia. And I am sending Cindy an email with some information. The email is going to be in Spanish because I'm just copying it. I have been sending it to other people as well. And so every Monday morning, I wake up very happy, and I check my YouTube for the video from Gilberto Lozano from Mexico. He makes he's counting the bad things that the government of AMLO is doing. And so it is very funny the way that he puts everything together, and everything has a support. So that is why it is so important to watch this. I think that it is our duty as Americans to read or be interested in the news of Mexico. So this is a very good way to know what is going on down there. So on today's video of Gilberto Lozano, he brings up this very, very, very important piece of information. And as you all know, AMLO and Marcelo Ebrard, they went back to Mexico last weekend, and they threw themselves a party in Tijuana to celebrate the agreement with the United States. And then AMLO came and he said to the Mexican people not to worry about where the money to take care of the migrants was coming from, because it was going to be from the sale of the famous presidential plane. So, well, that is the point. That the plane was commissioned in 2012, and it has a lien, and it is supposed to be paid off in 15 years. So the plane is not his, and it is estimated that the debt right now is for more than $2,000 million. And with that said, the latest quote for the plane was less than $2,000 million. So that means that they are not even going to recover the cost of a plane at the moment that it is sold. I am pretty sure that AMLO is not that stupid, and he knows this information, and he's just lying to the people of Mexico to try to prevent any chaos in there. But I am sending you the email, Cindy, so whenever you have a chance to take a look at it, I think that this is very, very important because of what everybody that is pro AMLO at this moment, they're saying, oh, phew, so we're not going to have any problem because we have the migrant problems covered, it is solved. But the reality is something very, very.
Yeah, those numbers to me are like huge. 200 billion. No,
Yeah,
what
she
is
meant
it?
pesos.
Okay.
She meant pesos, and in a separate email, she was like, oops, I
Okay.
meant pesos.
Okay.
And so anyway, but what she said, and I don't know if you heard this, because, it was a little bit quiet for me. I had to put it up to my ear.
Actually, you have to turn that speaker up a little bit because they're
Oh,
fine
well,
over
I
there.
put my headphones on. I can hear a lot better when I do that. I should just probably wear them. And sometimes I mess with my earrings or my hair, and I don't like them. But what she said was, Duke, there's a lien on the plane.
Yeah.
It was sold in 2012. It wasn't even his to sell because it's already been sold. They've been paying payments for 15 years. They're going to make payments on this plane. And by the time, and there's this lien on it, and by the time it gets sold, they're going to have a debt. They're going to have a debt. Okay? So, folks, why, she says, was the president and Marcelo Ebrard going along with the story? Why are they saying to people that, you want to know how we're going to pay for all of the services that we're offering to the migrants because we don't have a budget? I'm going to sell my plane. But he can't sell the plane because it's not his plane to sell. And here's more coverage about the plane showing what this woman is talking about. So she did send me that email. I checked it out. Here's the email she sent me. And there's a link there that goes to La Voz Arizona Avión. La Voz Arizona, the article. Here's the second part of this email. And as you can see, she's saying some very nice things to me there. But there's that link, La Voz Arizona. If we could go to the article, I'll show you what it's talking about. And it does say that the it says not only that the plane has already been sold, it also talks about how much the plane is costing Mexicans right now, because not only has it been sold before and there's a lien on it, it's sucking. That's the chupa. Chupacabra, is the vampire goat.
Yep.
It comes from the word suck, chupa, because it is a vampire, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is the vampire plane because it's sucking 242 million pesos, and he can't sell it. He can't sell it. So it says each month the federal government of Mexico pays Boeing around $60 million for renting a hangar in Victorville, California to house the plane.
Wow.
And not only that, Duke, this is incredible. That's about 1,200,000 pesos. That's $60,000.
Yep.
$60,000. $60,000 is the amount. $60,000.
Wow.
Okay. I misspoke. Did I say 60 million? I think I did. I'm sorry. Anyway, I meant 60,000. That's what they're paying. And they also have to pay on top of that. That's not accounting maintenance costs for maintaining the plane, and another 34 million pesos for the debt that they have with Banobras on the plane's sale, on the purchase of the plane. Which is to say, in 6 months, Mexicans have shelled out 235,525,000 pesos to pay for the Banobras debt, and 7,200,000 pesos to have it parked in the United States.
Wow.
On December 3rd of 2018, Jose Maria Morelos came out in Mexico with a promise that Andrés Manuel López Obrador that this plane was going to be sold, right? That's how he's going to pay for this plan. But last April, López Obrador affirmed that there were 14 people or 14 interested groups in the plane's purchase, but the Office of National Unity Services, known as Oficina Nacional Unida de Servicios para Proyectos, the project and services arm of the federal government in Mexico, informed that there is no such process. There's no inscription process to, get in line, one of those 14 people getting in line for the purchase of the plane.
Okay.
And that process closed last May. So according to the United Nations, Mexico hired the company Morton, Bayer, and Agnew to do an evaluation of the value of the plane that AMLO is talking about when he says that they valued it around 130, 150. And the evaluation alone, the process of getting this company to get it, an estimate, cost $9,250.
Oh boy, $10,000 just to find out how much you owe.
Yes, this good deed by AMLO to pay for this border strategy for his migrant strategy in Mexico is very, very costly to the Mexican people.
Yeah.
It's actually sucking money out of Mexico. And as the caller says, he can't be that dumb. He's got to know.
Yeah.
The plane isn't something he can use to pay for the plan. So why is he lying to the people? Duke, what do you think?
I don't know.
What's going on?
It's like you would think the president of the country would know that one of their assets is actually a money pit, and it's not. You can't unless he's going to end the money pit and just the money he saves not spending on it.
But
but they have to pay it off. They have to actually pay it off and incur a huge debt to get rid of it. He's not going to save that much flying first class. And it's just like to me. It's like I don't know how he couldn't know that. So and how can he think that the rest of the country doesn't know that or can't find out and is so stupid that factoid should be easy to find. It's not that hidden. and people can find it. So I don't understand why, he would think the rest of the country is that stupid to believe it, unless he's just talking to Americans. And, we're dumb enough to give Trump a bunch of money to change the color of the airplane in Air Force One, so it's like, we're not going to know anything about Mexico's airplane, and their costs and that sort of thing, because we're just spending money left and right and stuff like that all the time. So it's not that big of a deal.
Meanwhile, trafficking is happening in a massive international operation, which I've told you is going on. Smuggling is happening out in the open, practically. Irineo Mujica and Cristobal Sanchez were freed. Scott Warren's trial ended in a hung jury. Nobody is being punished for the trafficking and for the smuggling. And it seems very clear to me that some border states, some politicians, some governors, some people want to keep those borders open and flowing with trafficking and smuggling of drugs and people and weapons over our border. They don't want that payday to stop, and it just makes you wonder how they're involved. What is it that makes this loophole and open border spaces where they refuse to build walls? Why do they want that? What's the payoff for them? Let me show you what's going on in Mexico. And the smugglers and the traffickers I see daily are putting the lives of people that they smuggle at risk. They don't care. I just saw a video of 2 bodies that they left in the desert. They just leave people. They don't care if the human cargo gets from point A to point B. They care more about crossing the drugs or the weapons as they do about making sure the migrants actually live. They don't care. They care about the dólares. They care about the Benjamins. Let me show you in this video. Here is the migrants. This is the back of a semi-truck. This is one of many semi-trucks they stopped. Look how they were transporting these people. They're finally forcing open the truck. You can see the migrants are huddled there. It's crazy in there. Can you imagine how hot it gets inside of that thing, dude?
It'd be horrible.
And they pack the people in there like peanuts. They pack them like sardines. There's over 100 people sometimes in the back of one of these pickups. Where do they go to the bathroom? I don't know. The mind boggles.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You don't think that some of these people suffocate?
Oh, of course.
Could die? I mean, and here's a shot from inside the trailer so you can see what it looks like. I mean, these folks are really packed in there like sardines. Here's an article I will share with you that talks about how in Veracruz, the state of Veracruz, hundreds of migrants were rescued from their smugglers. You can see there's a series of trailer trucks there. And these were not the only ones. Over 500 migrants were actually rescued from the trailers. This happened on the highway Tinaja-Acayucan with the crossroads of Crucero de Sayula. There were children that were in that trailer. Duke, show them the back of the trailer, please. Here is what it looks like in the back, inside the trailer. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at how many people are in there, children included.
Yep.
Okay. One of the immigration enforcement arms in Mexico, INAMI, said that, there was 4 semi-truck trailers, and that they people reported that they were smuggled by coyotes, whom they paid $3,500. Each of them paid $3,500. Each of them paid $3,500. Are you hearing me?
Yeah. Jeez. 3,000.
Can you do some math in your brain right now, Duke?
Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's a lot of money. 3,500, for 10 be $35,000,
We got over 500 people rescued in one go here.
Wow.
each migrant had to pay $3,500. And the agreement was that they would be transported to the border with the United States. So between 2018, this article states that between 2018 and April of 2019, detentions of minors, foreigners from other countries by INAMI rose. They have actually captured 12,311,000 children. Children.
Wow. Wow.
Children. Just children. Children. So this is a growing problem.
Mm-hmm.
It should be concerning. It's not the kind of thing that you can just glibly say, "I'll pay for it by selling my plane."
Yeah.
That you can't sell.
Mm-hmm.
What is really the border strategy of the president of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, then? Because it seems to me that we are being sold a bill of goods, that we are being lied to, that the president of the United States is being lied to, and in a very poor fashion, like he wasn't even trying hard. This is the reporter that the article I just shared with you about the capture of the migrants that had to pay $3,500 each. As you can see, he's a reporter from Tijuana. His name is, the page is Betanzos Arzola. And on the right-hand side, Duke, if you scooch over, it says there that he is a journalist from Tijuana, and he works at 104.9 FM.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what is actually happening is people die. When you allow smugglers and traffickers to run roughshod through your country and into ours, people die. Whether President Andrés Manuel López Obrador wants to admit that this is heightening the danger for the migrants, for the vulnerable people in this story, by just continuing to say, peace, love, I'll sell my plane, we'll figure it out, we're going to protect the human rights. But the question is, what's really the outcome for the migrants? What's really happening to them? They're being smuggled, the back of semis. All sorts of bad things are happening to them. We've talked about the bad things that are happening to Mexico and to Mexican states like Chiapas.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. And more recently, we've learned that the shootout that took place in Mexico resulted in death. Okay, this is what's happened. This is what's happening. Here is a tweet by a reporter named Ruben Figueroa talking about the battle that took place, the armed battle where guns were shot and a person was killed, a migrant woman dead, 3 injured. This happened at a checkpoint of federal police and INAMI. And this was a few, kilometers from the site of the shooting. What happened? Well, this Washington Post article tells us what took place. It says that migrants say, I have to say that the WAPO has been horribly biased in many of its articles in a very close your eyes, don't answer the questions about how we take care of all the migrants kind of way. But anywho, and I just wanted to talk about that bias of the WAPO because I'm sharing an article from them right now with you, but it does say here that the migrants say the police opened fire on their truck, killing a 19-year-old woman. There's more to the story than just that, however. 2 men were wounded in the shootout as well. The confrontation, which took place on the Gulf Coast state of Veracruz on Friday, comes as Mexico expands its immigration enforcement at the behest of United States, creating checkpoints, new checkpoints, and deploying thousands of National Guardsmen across the country. Human rights advocates have expressed concerns that those actions could lead to violence against the migrants. Reports of the shooting have circulated in local media for days. On Tuesday, the Attorney General of Veracruz held a news conference to relay the accounts from the survivors. Attorney General George Wickler Ortiz said 17 migrants bound for the United States were traveling in a white truck near a checkpoint in the town of Agua Dulce when they heard sirens. The driver of the truck, who officials said was likely a smuggler, sped up. He didn't stop at the checkpoint, Duke. He sped up.
Mad Max style.
Right. He sped up. A police patrol car gave chase and eventually reached the truck, according to Winkler Ortiz. The people wearing police uniforms opened fire, he said. Wednesday, Mexico's Secretary of Public Security said his ministry's own investigation indicated that the migrants sped through a checkpoint and shot at the Mexican police and officials. They sped up. They shot at the police. And then the police gave chase. So developing here, right?
Yeah.
There's more to the story, and there's way more to this story than the headline that tells you Mexican police opened fire at migrants. The way it's being reported is, Nazi Trump said to the Mexicans, hey, you better start getting your military involved in your police and take this stuff seriously, or I'm going to tariff you. And then all of a sudden, people were being interviewed and they're like, oh no, now it's an all-out war in Mexico against the migrants. And also, they're going to start killing the migrants. They're going to start shooting at the migrants.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about the violence coming from the smugglers? Huh? Why are we not talking about that? I think it's important to talk about because these authorities were shot at. They were going to jump. They were going to run that turnstile. They were going to go through that checkpoint, and nobody was going to stop them. Why? Because they got to get their cargo where it's got to go.
Yeah.
That's why. Because they're smart. They're part of a smuggling operation. So the secretary, Alfonso Durazo, told reporters at a news conference, quote, in this case, the first information indicates that not only did he not stop, referring to the smuggler, but they fired and there were attacks against the personnel of the checkpoint. He said the investigation is ongoing, but, quote, would not be surprised, he said, if they ended up identifying elements of organized crime. Organized crime, you know what that means. The C word, the other C word.
Yeah.
And those participating in human trafficking, end quote. That is what we need to talk about. These assailants that are part of this criminal operation get shot at because they were shooting at the police. What do you think was going to happen? This is the true nature, the true face of these folks. Let me show you another video. This was posted on Patriot Fire on social media by a man named Roger Ogden, who is a videographer and blogger who was assaulted by the volunteers of Otro Lado. Take a listen to this video in which he details what they did to him and how they did it. Assaulted on, spat on, hit.
On June 14th, a few days after Trump's agreement was announced, I went down to the Mexican side of the pedestrian border crossing called El Chaparral. This is where those who want to claim asylum wait for their number to be called for a credible fear interview. There were a couple hundred people there. On this day, there seems to be a lot more Africans than in the past and fewer Central Americans. This may be significant that maybe fewer caravanners are reporting here already.
He's showing people in line in a designated area. Showing more people on the street, on the road, underneath the bridge. Line of people. There's probably 80, 90 people there. Cabs going by. Everybody's waiting. There's another big group of people by the gate, right at the entrance,
Otro Lado was there passing out flyers and offering cups of unappetizing oatmeal mush and coffee. They act like they own the place even though they're Americans. They come up asking prying questions and giving unwanted advice and even issuing commands.
He's zooming in on some of the Otro Lado people. They're talking, they have flyers.
To tell you the truth, some of the ultra-ladistas look more destitute than the asylum seekers. These two actually attacked me and I had to spray them. They became angry because I was taking video of them. When my camera was off, they told me that I didn't have permission. I told them that I don't need their permission. The guy in the red shirt then walked up to me and spit on me.
So he picks up his gruel. He picks up the cups and he walks over and
Wow.
My camera was off for a couple of minutes.
spits.
One of the asylum seekers gave me a Kleenex. I wiped the spit off my shirt and threw it back towards him, saying, "Here's your spit back." He then picked up a small cutting board with a handle on it, like the one shown in the photo here, and charged me, saying, "Get out of here or I'll hit you with this paddle." Backing up, I pulled pepper spray out and sprayed him in the face about the same time as he started hitting me with a paddle. The paddle was made of pretty thin wood, and it broke when he hit me.
You see the wood chip rip,
Wow.
and it goes flying to the ground. You see how he hits him with the paddle. So he's tried to violate his rights, censor him. He spit on him. He assaulted him there, and now he's assaulting him again and violently. I'm sorry, it's in slow mo. So he's cleaning his face because Roger defended himself with pepper spray.
You just assaulted that man.
And a man walks up.
He hit me. Take your weapons, take your camera,
Can you
and
please
get out of
leave,
here.
sir? Can you please leave?
At this point where the video ends, the Pharaoh girl grabbed my video cam and tried to take it away. She didn't get it, but she broke the screen and almost tore the screen off the camera. I sprayed her also. She turned her head and her hair protected her to some extent, but she felt some effect from it and let go of my camera. Here's what my camera looks like now. My car was right there under the overpass. Other people were coming up and starting to surround me. I backed out and left as there was some pounding on my car.
Wow.
Those are the same ones that hung out with Evan Duke, says Melinda. Check it out, guys. I told you these Antifa people connected to the Border Support Network are violent. When I watched this video, I started screaming, literally screaming, because guess what? Guess who I saw in there? I saw River Doherty, the kidnapper. I saw River Doherty, the same violent kidnapper that was accused by the pastor, Albert Rivera from Agape Shelter, of kidnapping an unaccompanied minor from his shelter, the same which these same activists were providing drugs, including methamphetamines, to the migrants and the child. Okay, this is what the pastor said to the Mexican media, to the American media here at a Mexican Crossing Lines, and he provided proof. I wrote it up in an article. You can find it at ToriSays.com. I have his pictures. Here is the picture from the screen capture of Mr. Ogden's video. By the way, Mr. Ogden told me that there's River Doherty. I circled him. He's got a little arrow pointing at his head. That's the same River Doherty that I talked about in the ToriSays.com article. Maybe Mr. Nemo can find it on ToriSays.com and throw it into the comments of the show as well for you so you can check it out. my reporting, my past reporting from what they did, which was so we've got false marriages, false families, fake documentation, fraud for the asylum claims, the Otro Lado people caught on tape by Oscar El Blue Ramirez saying, we don't do that anymore, referring to the fake marriage ceremonies they were doing. It's like, yeah, we were doing that, but we're not doing that anymore. Shamelessly admitting the truth of what they do. Shamelessly admitting the truth of what they do. This is the second screen capture here of a River Doherty he's the one helping the guy that got pepper sprayed after he spit upon and then broke a chopping board on Mr. Ogden, and he got pepper sprayed. So did the woman, the feral looking woman he refers to. And as you can see, it is the same River Doherty with the weird, what is that, rat tail growing on the side of his head there that he has in the, and here's the picture from his mother's, Beth Doherty's, Facebook page. You can see it's the same dude. It's the same river in the TorySays.com article that I wrote about. So this guy has been in Mexico. The Mexican authorities know these folks are there. They've been reported for kidnapping children, making fake marriages, giving people false documentation to make fraudulent claims of asylum in the United States. They've assaulted people. They've given drugs to the migrants. The list just goes on. And my question is, what is the Mexican government, the Mexican police, the Mexican authorities, and AMLO's strategy? What is the border strategy for dealing with these people from Al Otro Lado? I'd really like to know. I'm asking for a friend. Anybody got any idea? Because it doesn't look like AMLO is doing enough. It doesn't look like he's doing the right thing in this instance. And on top of it, he's like, I don't know how I'm selling the plane. I'm going to sell the plane. That's how I'm going to fix this. When he knows damn well he can't sell the plane. And here is something that you need to understand about the connections between this, because when I saw the story in Mexico of the shooting, which is being spun by the pro-migrant groups as, oh no, they're coming down like a ton of bricks. They're murdering the migrants now. Migrants are being criminalized. Migration is criminalized. Human rights are non-existent now. Is that it reminded me a lot of the shooting that happened at the San Ysidro port of entry. The San Ysidro port of entry that we showed you on my show got shot up, where there was a bunch of officers running away from a white truck. Do you all remember that? Let me show you some footage from that. Duke, why don't you narrate what's happening?
All right. There's the one shot. Shots fired. Police running.
Falling.
Law enforcement on the ground. 5, 6, 7, 8, all going for cover. It's a white van. This is dash cam from one of the officers. So now they're shooting. There's guns. They're shooting. It doesn't look like that. I don't know really who's shooting what, but it looks like they're trying to protect themselves. A lot of yelling. There's they're saying get out. There's a guy on the ground. One of the officers on the ground. There's a couple more over by the wall. There's several hiding behind the corner. At this point, there's no more shooting, but a lot of yelling back and forth. It doesn't look like there's any reinforcements coming in. The truck is not moving at all, just sitting in the same spot when the shots were fired. They're pointing weapons at the vehicle and still yelling. And there seems to be some rapport. I can hear some voices coming that aren't just, oh, now they're raising it. Oh, here's more people coming. There's more officers, law enforcement coming. They're getting closer and closer to the vehicle. They're pointing their weapons at the vehicle. They're lining up on one side of the vehicle. They're all on one side of the vehicle. One of the guys is on the ground. Now they're going to the back of the vehicle. and they're coming around the rear left, and now they're on the side and in front. They look like they have the vehicle completely surrounded. Their weapons are all drawn. More and more people are coming in now since they have people around the whole vehicle, law enforcement. Can't really see the people inside because it's a shot from a dash cam some distance away. It's no more shots are being fired. And that's it.
Well, there's actually more. And at some point at the end, the man that is shooting that video from his vehicle is questioned by the police, and that's when he turns off his cam. Now, when I first showed you this, I showed you from the Mexican. I think I'm not sure it was if it was. I think it was the Mexican side. Mm-hmm. How people ran for cover, how people were hiding behind pylons, and how people were reporting in Spanish. This guy was reporting, and I played a clip of when the cop comes over, and he's like, "Hey, how long are we going to be here? What happened, sir?" And then the cop says, "There's a dead person."
Okay. Yep.
And that was all we knew. He's like, "There's somebody there that's not going to live."
Yeah.
It turned out to be the smuggler. And the reason I know that is because it was, well, let's let you listen to the reporting from Fox 5 News about the shooting. This is before that it was known that the person that got shot died, and it was the smuggler, okay? This is what they reported first.
Tonight, shots fired at the San Ysidro port of entry. We have confirmed a Border Patrol agent was involved in a shooting. Fox 5's Kasha Gogorchik is live at the scene for us, and she has more. Kasha.
That's right, Kathleen. At this hour, both Customs and Border Protection, as well as San Diego Police Department, confirming that there was a shooting here at the San Ysidro Port of Entry earlier this evening around 7:30 involving a Border Patrol agent. I do want to show you what it looks like down here right now. At this hour, there are just a few San Diego police units left here. No more lights and sirens, but they do remain here on scene. If you take a look in the distance as well, you can kind of see that building that looks like it's under construction. That is the general area where this shooting happened earlier. And according from a statement from Customs and Border Protection, we have some video from earlier that we want to show you. Customs and Border Protection says a white pickup truck arrived at the San Ysidro Port of Entry along the San Diego-Tijuana border here to enter into the United States. The driver failed to stop for an inspection, and there was an officer-involved shooting. Now, San Diego police also confirmed to us the shooting happened in a secondary vehicle inspection area that near that building we just showed you. And at this point, officials cannot tell us who fired their weapon first or if anyone was injured. We do know there was a heavy presence of San Diego police units out here this evening. We're told they were called to assist Customs and Border Protection. We also saw an agent arriving with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms here to the scene. And we know the port of entry was closed to all vehicle and pedestrian traffic for about 30 minutes total, but everything is back open at this hour. The last thing Customs and Border Protection telling us this evening is that the San Diego Police Department is now the lead investigating agency on this shooting here that happened at the San Ysidro Port of Entry, so all further updates will come from them. Just spoke to an officer about 15 minutes ago, and at this point, all they can confirm is that there was a shooting involving that Border Patrol agent. We hope to learn more details in the coming hours and again in the morning on the Fox 5 News. For now, we are live in San Ysidro. Kasha Gregorczyk, Fox 5 News.
Kasha, thank you.
Okay. And what I appreciate is, the fact that the police in the situation in Mexico I think, had a reason why they were shooting, and that was because they were being shot at, right?
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
happened. So take a look at this post on Facebook, excuse me, that was posted about the guy that was shot, the guy that died. This was him. This is a picture of him with his dog. And here is a second picture. He was a young man. He was a very young man. There he is, looking with long hair, very long hair. And these pictures were posted by the smuggler's mother. Okay. There's her name. Donna, I'll just call her by her first name. Okay. This is the mom of this young man that lost his life. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what she said. At 7:20 a.m. yesterday morning, I received the call that no parent is ever prepared for. Travis James Eckstein is no longer with us. That is the name of the young man that was in that vehicle. Okay? His father is the one that was on the telephone and said that Travis was fatally shot Monday evening coming back across the California-Mexico border, telling me he just received a call from San Diego Police Department. I told Travis's father, this can't be. Excuse me. And they called, and then called a very kind detective that explained Travis was crossing back from Mexico and that they directed him to secondary inspection, and that at that point Travis knew he was busted because what she's referring to here is the fact he was smuggling people.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was 2 men from China. And that and then he pulled out a gun because he would rather die than go to prison. That is what it says, Duke.
It does.
He knew he could get caught, and his plan, if he got caught, was he was going to shoot his way out of it and die in the shootout.
I guess, and kill other people.
And kill other people if
Wow.
necessary, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is what his mother. His mother posted this saying, this was his plan, Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see why the police in Mexico had to shoot?
Oh, yeah.
There's a dead migrant. There's a 19-year-old dead migrant woman and 2 other people injured in that shootout. Fortunately, it wasn't an Inami agent as it has been in the past, as have already died. More than 4 agents have been killed in Mexico. San Ysidro, port of entry, did not have those police fatalities. Thankfully. But it could have.
Mm-hmm.
What else does the smuggler's mom say? What else does she say? She said 7 Border Patrol agents fired on him. Thankfully, no one else was injured. We are saddened that the officers and bystanders had to go through this. We're all shocked, devastated, and heartbroken. Travis has struggled for many years with depression and was recently diagnosed as bipolar. He also had many concussions. His brain didn't think like a normal person. Our family did everything we knew to help him. He accepted the Lord as as a child and was baptized. I pray now that Travis is in the arms of Jesus at peace and no longer suffering. Until we meet again, son. Donna and family. And then she said, if you feel the need to comment negatively, keep it to yourself. We weren't okay with the choices Travis had made. We refused to enable and fuel his bad behavior. But he is still my son. Allow us to grieve. Duke, your thoughts?
Well, I remember when this came out, and it was like trying to explain that, he had problems, and but at the same time, he was trying to smuggle people over the border, and it's like, and had intent in a firearm, and was totally willing to use it. His bipolar disorder, and his head injuries, I don't know. It was like, I don't know if she's trying to make that an excuse, or it shouldn't be considered, but it's like the person was still doing some really bad stuff that innocent people were going to be hurt and killed, and they were, and it's like, that's what I thought of when and in fact I thought the way the American media dealt with it is they made it an excuse right away, that the person's bipolar, had head injuries, therefore he didn't know what he's doing, but he could plan taking some people out of the country across the border. His brain was working fine to do that, I guess. His brain was working fine to bring a firearm along. He could still drive. It's like I don't I just, I don't like being insensitive to his death, but that's the sort of things I thought of when I first heard this,
And I thought of the shooting that happened to the Mexican authorities in Mexico recently that it resulted in the death of this migrant, because it could have been one of the officers that died, first of all. And if you notice the similarity between the two shootings that took place, the smugglers shot at the cops. The smugglers shot with the expectation that either they were going to get away with it, and if necessary, they were going to have to kill some cops in the process.
Yeah.
Or they were going to die trying. They were going to die trying to shoot their way out of the situation. In both cases, shooting happened from the smugglers because they didn't have another plan. That was their plan. What happens if you get put into secondary inspection? What happens if you run upon a police checkpoint? Shoot it out, kill some people if necessary, and get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
That was their plan. And according to the mom, they weren't happy with his choices.
Yeah.
His choice was to become a smuggler. And he doesn't operate alone. None of these people do. As I have shown you, the people in the Border Support Network, the groups that are in there, are a vast network that was planned, that was funded, fundraised for. A lot of it through accounts, GoFraudMe's, GoFundMe's.
Yeah.
Venmo's, PayPal's. Anyway, one such group that has raised millions of dollars, Al Otro Lado, the same group of volunteers you just saw assaulting an American blogger, spitting on him, breaking a board on him, trying to stop him from videotaping them in the open. What's wrong with your operation? What are you doing that you don't want people to see? Because many other people have captured the evidence. That's what I love about Oscar's El Blue Ramirez's video. He captured their own words. Their own words. The people of Al Otro Lado saying these things, as I have shown you as well. I'm using their own words. Okay? I'm not just accusing. A lot of these people have said things. Recently, Pitaya Queen posted on our YouTube channel.
That's right, yes.
She's mad because I'm a liar, she says. I'm like, so the people from El Jardín de las Mariposas, the gay shelter thing, were lying when they said you were sex trafficking children? And the people that reported it in the news in Mexico, like Alfredo Alvarez, they're also liars? Everybody's lying about you, girl?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But they got their media allies out there helping them. And the way that they are portraying things is part of that propaganda. It's become so ridiculous that now Nicole Ramos isn't just, slumming it in her flannel shirt, the only one she owns apparently, and her broken down kicks. She's also having to, fight people at the border to protect herself and her volunteers from the zombie apocalypse. I just showed you the proof and the evidence in the video that they did to an American blogger just for trying to film their operation and their activities. Meanwhile, AJ Plus, Al Jazeera Plus, is trying to spin this nonsense. Take a listen.
Practicing in Tijuana at this point is akin to being a lawyer in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. My name is Nicole Ramos, and I am the director of Al Otro Lado's Border Rights Project. We work with deportees and refugees in the border region. I wake up every day outraged that my government is being permitted to violate the rights of asylum seekers in a brutal and systemic way. The shelters are full. There is no room. Asylum seekers who can't access a shelter must either sleep on the streets or they must group together to...
So you get the idea, don't
you?
You understand what the message is.
Yes.
It's a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
The messaging is just that. It's propaganda, it's messaging, and it's meant to push your buttons
Mm-hmm.
and to control how you talk about things and what you do. So you have to pay very close attention. But believe me, and I've shown you the evidence time and time again, they're literally doing the opposite things. They're literally putting people in danger. They're literally shooting their way through border checkpoints, guys.
Yeah.
They're literally putting lives in danger. They're literally kidnapping people. They're literally giving migrants drugs. They're literally doing these things. I have shown you that. What are they calling for? What are the activists out to get you to do now? Well, part of that narrative, this one coming from the Anaris Project for Alternative Futures, I will share the link with you, is calling for activists to march on the concentration camps. Remember, the wording is very important here, so they have to call the detention facilities concentration camps. I know when I was organizing under these groups and talking about this stuff, I too was lured into calling them just that, because what we're trying to do, what the left was trying to do, what these people involved in these movements, in these campaigns, in these productions, theater productions, like we had at Standing Rock, want you to do is to learn the jargon and speak it.
Mm-hmm.
Water is life. You can't drink oil. Keep it in the soil.
That's right.
Miniwichoni.
Yes, yes.
Aho.
Yep. Oh.
And as long as you have been, brainwashed and are following the masses and are speaking the lingo and are talking the thing, then you'll go along with the agenda. Okay, how do we test if you're on my team? Water is life.
That's right.
How do you complete that phrase? Miniwichoni, right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't say it.
That's right.
Have you helped stir the sacred fire?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a water protector.
Aha! Where's your tattoo?
On my butt.
So here's the thing, guys. We have to pay attention to what they're asking of you to do and why. What do they want? In this article written by Arun Gupta, they're saying, we need a massive march on the border. Here's the call out, guys. Just like they did at Standing Rock. Hey, everyone, it's time to mobilize everyone to go to march at the border. Against what? Tens of thousands of people who will peacefully, nonviolently disrupt the machinery of ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing? Like what they were going to do at Standing Rock and poisoning of the water? To give aid to migrants, sounds like the Border Support Network to me, to witness and record the concentration camps, dear God, the killings, the torture, the ethnic cleansing. The left is good at mobilizing in large-scale protest. The anti-globalization movement, the anti-Iraq war protest, immigrant rights, Occupy Wall Street, Black Lives Matter, Standing Rock. All these mass mobilizations took place in the last couple of decades. All these movements helped to shift the national debate. The left has the power to shift national discourse. Hell yes, they do. And they've been doing it. And I've shown you what the Border Support Network is up to. Here's the call out, folks. They're going for the camps.
Yep.
And you know what happens when these folks get together at the border? Violent clashes. That's what happens. So that's what I have for you tonight on the Mexican Crossing Lines with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You've been listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Stay tuned.